Hey everybody, it's Allison Durant coming to you from my studio in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I want to share with you the art that I'm going to be taking to a November 8th show at Sea Space in Marda Loop here in Southwest Calgary, and it's called Art Supermarket, but it's actually in French, Supermarché De l'art. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's, I think, a creative art show that was first put on in France, and I believe they put on a show at least 9 times in France, and I guess it was just such a popular show, such a popular event, and all art that goes into the show is from $30 Canadian to $300 Canadian, so it's a really great affordable price range of a variety of, they usually pick about 50 artists, and it's sort of like a supermarket layout where you can flip through bins. The artwork is put in these clear crystal bag sleeves, and it's all labeled by the group Supermarché De l'art. The organizers, this is my first time doing the show, and I really don't know a lot about it, but I'm excited to have my art going into it, and I just thought I'd share what's going into the show. For those of you that have been following me, you know that with the 3 Canada Post strikes in this past year, it's really been hard on business, especially small businesses that use Canada Post as the shipping company. So I have just decided to try and get out locally more, and again, I just want to share with you what I'm up to. So first, I just want to share this painting. This is a highly textured, highly colorful, as you can see, mixed media painting, and I titled this painting Saturdays with Betty. And I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit more on all the mark making. And so this painting, I had used watercolor, acrylic, crayons underneath. I believe I had used pencil, just your regular, 2H pencil. There's a whole bunch of texture through etching into wet paint, through wax crayons, water-soluble crayons, and I was just really playing around with different marks. So you can just see up close some of the etching, some of the large mark making with shapes versus some of the small. And I'm gonna just give you a little bit of history. So I titled this Saturdays with Betty because I follow a wonderful artist, Betty Franks Krause, and this is actually her book, Fields of Flowers. And you can just see how heavily influenced this painting is on Betty's style. So Betty offers, or she did offer, Saturday Zoom classes where she would teach you her style and really encourage people to kind of find their own colors, their own voice through enjoying the process that she uses for her Fields of Flowers. So do look up Betty Franks Krause. She's very much on social media, and she kind of shares her adventures. I think she's traveling quite a bit around the world right now and doing art classes all over. I was really fortunate that she signed this book. So again, Betty Franks Krause, Fields of Flowers, and this is a beautiful collection of a bunch of her work. There's Betty. It's kind of neat that she chose a black and white page here. And so you can see the title of her art, and then you can just see where the inspiration came from. And I'm actually going to find the page. You know, the lighting is not great in my studio today. I have my studio light, but you know, I might be able to brighten it up a little bit more. I could take off the umbrella, so I'll just show you. I have this umbrella straight ahead there. I don't know if you can all see it. And people walk by, so I kept some of I have the window, the blinds partially down. We'll just see how this comes out. Oh, it was this painting, Dancing in the Sun Together, from 2019. And this was the color palette and her painting that really inspired me to paint Saturdays with Betty. And again, because her Zoom class was on Saturday, I just really wanted to title it something that would share sort of her influence and inspiration around this piece. So this piece is going to be going into the show. It was done on paper, and I highly recommend Betty's YouTube channel and her classes if you have the chance to maybe meet her in person. She's just a really inspiring artist, and she uses a lot of color and a lot of texture and a somewhat methodical approach. I find it really hard. I find starting the style that she paints fairly straightforward and fun and easy. And as soon as it comes to pulling the painting together, that's where she really has this authentic voice that even if you tried to copy it, you just couldn't, which is so cool. And so I really tried to emulate her right through to the final piece of this painting, but you can just see how it's still very different than hers. And I know she did comment on this on my social media, which was nice. She is very encouraging to artists. This is just a sweet little thin book. It doesn't take up a lot of space. There's those Stabilo water-soluble crayons, the Stabilo Woodies. I love these. My son and I keep these out on the kitchen table every day, and we'll use them for all of our creative projects. There's the Neocolor Caran d'Ache. She uses paints from a company called Nova Colors, and we don't get those in Canada. Yeah, I'll just sort of share a few more of these pages. So beautiful. So thank you, Betty, for your inspiration for this painting that I'm going to be putting into the show. And next up, I want to share a painting, again, inspired by another artist. Make sure I put that in a really safe spot. And so this painting here, I don't know if any of you know the mixed media artist Pam Garrison, but she's, again, a wonderful artist, teacher. I have taken a couple of her classes through Creative Bug, the online learning platform, and I really wanted to just pull in some of her color choices into my art poetry style painting, which is that loose watercolor background. And then I thought I would just try making it sort of like a fun mixed media piece with acrylics. So this is sort of like an abstract daisy down here, and it's fairly textured with acrylic paint. And then I just sort of put my own style into this piece. But if you don't know Pam Garrison, you can find her in many places online, but I'm just going to share with you. She's in the Uppercase Botanica encyclopedia of inspiration. I've shared this book on my channel many times, but this is flowers, botanicals, leaves, just different artists. This is such a wonderful resource. And this page is wonderful because it kind of shows a little bit about Pam Garrison in terms of her color palette and a few of her paintings. So this is one of my bookmarks. You can see my style is very much the watercolor style, the loose style with mark making over top. And I'll just share. I love this piece here. I would love to have wallpaper, live in a cottage by the ocean with a whole room of wallpaper of Pam's work. But you can just see the influence, the color palette especially. And then again, right here. And I'm just gonna sort of see if I can bring some better light in here. I'll just take this umbrella. I'll just take that umbrella off and see. I don't know if that helped the light or not. It's just sort of, it's a beautiful day, but a little bit dim lighting we've been having in Calgary. We are called the Sunshine City, but at this time of year, it's just a little bit darker. So yeah, back to this stunning color palette. Pam uses a lot of those Neocolor Caran d'Ache crayons as well. So similar to Betty in some of the supplies. And she loves layers and florals. And so you can find Pam Garrison on social media and on Creative Bug platform. So I can link that information. And one of my art poetry cards. So for those of you that have been following my channel, you'll have been following me since I published this 71 artist card art poetry deck. So 71 cards of my art all reproduced into print. And one of the cards I had chosen was this painting. And I'm just going to put that here for a moment. And I know I didn't get this card from this card deck, so I've been kind of mixing up my card decks and want to keep it straight today. I got this cute little mat at Michael's Canada here, and I thought, oh, that's the perfect frame for my art cards. So this was put into print by my wonderful local printer, Ken Chow, through Art Magic. And you can just see the original next to the print. And again, wow, the lighting, it just doesn't do these colors justice. Especially with watercolors. So I am heavy-handed with pigment in watercolor, but you can see how when you reproduce your work into print that it just darkens, again, the watercolor marks. So that's something that it's kind of neat to see the original here. And I love white space, so I used a lot of white space in this piece, and this just came together. I would love to almost, again, emulate Pam's color palette and her style and make it my own. And I did love this painting so much. I tried to kind of do something similar, and I just couldn't. I couldn't repeat it. So anyways, this is a very special piece, and I titled this piece Bouquet of Influence, and the influence was directly from Pam Garrison. And the art poetry card, here's the back of my art poetry card. I chose the words emulate those you admire. And so again, I've kind of pulled in the title about Bouquet of Influence through Pam, but also emulating Pam's style and trying to kind of make it my own, and also giving her credit for a painting that was just inspired by her. I think it's really important when we're emulating, imitating, trying to kind of find ourselves through another artist. If you have the opportunity to, maybe credit that artist if you feel something was heavily inspired, I think that's really important. And I did share this with Pam on my social media. So, and I think I shared it on Creative Bug after I was taking her classes. There's like a little gallery of student work where the artists that are teaching on Creative Bug can see students' work. So this is all in a beautiful double-sided mat, and you can just see the gorgeous texture from the wax crayons, the water-soluble crayons. And this is a piece that was hard to let go of. I've actually had Saturdays with Betty and that painting Bouquet of Influence on my wall in my home for quite a while. Oh, you'd have a laugh. So I have curlers in my hair. I was watching actually, oh my gosh, I'm just drawing a blank. There's a wonderful, Gaynor Paddle, I believe is her name. I watch her every now and then. I love her weekly art videos, and I do know she had curlers in her hair in one video. It was super cute. But this glass painting, I wonder if I can get the reflection and just say hello with my curlers. Anyway, it's kind of funny. I'm trying not to use a curling iron on my hair these days, and today I thought, well, just after my shower, I'll sneak in some curlers and see how that goes. Another reason that I just opted not to have the blinds fully open today, it's very much like a fishbowl here in my studio. And I'm totally digressing. Painting number 3 is this beautifully framed painting. And I had painted this quite a long time ago. I believe it was in 2019, before I started selling my work. I had sold my first painting in December of 2019, but for all of 2018, mostly 2019, was when I really was painting every day, trying to find my style, doing as many works as possible. And I produced a lot. This is a painting, though, I just couldn't let go of. I really loved. I was following Alina Hennessy's courses online. I really love her approach to painting, her style, and I love to kind of make it my own. So this piece, it's really tricky to see because of the glass frame, but you can see I found some reticulated texture in there. I'm looking at my beautiful overhead light in my living room space. Sorry about the glare. I will just say this is called Falling on Cotton, and this painting, I do see the color palette as sharing without knowing it. And before I followed Pam Garrison, I do see that influence in here. I could just flip back. She does have some really bright brights. She uses a fair bit of red in her work next to those, that's like a phthalo green, almost that golden phthalo green pastel. It's also very similar to this gorgeous Artist Loft acrylic ink, this turquoise. I understand that they may have stopped making this, which is unfortunate. It's one of my favorite colors right now. And I'm just trying to see, yeah, without knowing it, I think I was using a lot of the same colors that Pam uses in her work. One of my favorite colors, and I just seem to always go back to it, is this really lovely coral color, sort of like a salmon, a deep salmon coral, peachy pink. It shows up in so much of my work. So this painting is going to go in the show. To be so careful the way I set these paintings down. Oh, and this painting, this is titled Adventures with Foxes. And this was painted with my mom in mind because just this year we've had a thing about the fox, and everybody has been giving her, birthday cards with a sweet little fox. I had been painting her foxes. I also purchased a painting from an artist with a couple really sweet foxes in it. So it's just the year of the fox, at least in our household, our family. And what can I tell you about this painting? So if you were following my channel last year around winter time, I had produced a collection titled Breaking Cabin Fever by Breaking a Blank Page. And this is the palette that I had chosen. And I've shared this palette with you all, but I do plan to share it again. I'm gonna grab something to show you. Okay, what the heck, put the blinds down a little bit, and I really don't care what the neighbors think. Okay, so I will do a video on this, but I had written down all of the colors that I had used in the collection Breaking Cabin Fever by Breaking One Blank Page at a Time. I'm now working on a collection titled Breaking Chemo Fever because I have two people closest to me in my life going through a roller coaster of chemotherapy. So those are sort of how the titles have played out over the last little while, the last year or two. And I was contemplating teaching a class locally, so I can share this if anyone would like. This palette that I've used on, I can share it on my channel here. And what I had done is I had grabbed some little art cards. I mean, you can just You can do this with just 140-pound watercolor paper. These have a little bit more of a glossy finish. I'd purchased these quite a long time ago, I think probably on Amazon, and I was using them when I was creating just a draft for how I wanted to kind of put together my artist card deck. And then I had these and I thought, well, this would be just a really great way to share a palette. So this painting, Adventures with Foxes, has all of these gorgeous paint colors. And what I was doing is I was smushing paint to get this gorgeous texture. And that's also how I had made those stamps with you all. Oops, and they do stick together if they're not fully dry. So it's that glossy paper that if you put on a dollop of paint and smush the glossy pages together and pull them apart, you can get this stunning effect that, you know, we do see this in nature. I know if I pour myself a glass of kefir, that fermented milk product, dairy product, or if I see frost on my windshield, I see these gorgeous patterns. And I do love these in my art. This was one that was made with fluid acrylics, which is so stunning. So I have done a couple videos on that as well. I want to share with you, oh yeah, so what I can do is just go through these paints if you're all interested, because I feel like the paintings that come out are so stunning. At least that's my opinion. We all have sort of a different opinion when it comes to color. We all see colors differently. And back February of last year, I had made a little art journal with this color palette. So this is basically the same thing, just wanting to see if this year I could repeat the palette. And I'm so glad I had written everything down in this little paper journal, because I would have forgotten. I'd also shared in here that I had used the stamping with that with the homemade stamps I made, those handmade stamps. And I was using just different pastels, watercolor crayons, things that I could kind of smudge just to get an effect that I thought, well, maybe that would look really good in certain areas of my painting. I was also using music sheets, which were given to me by my lovely neighbor, art collector friend. Thank you so much, Kathy. She had a gorgeous book of music papers, and I wanted to remember that I was using those in my collage art. Sometimes when I use papers, you don't see it because it's covered up with those layers of acrylic paint. I do love the brown toned paper in here, and so you'll see that pop up in a lot of my work. This was just from a class, actually. I was trying that pumice gel, and I have not filled the rest of this book, but again, was just trying to get this palette back into my memory bank, so when I go to paint, I can just sort of pull it out. So I'm gonna just go through really quickly and find Luminous Rose number 582, which is it's a little bit more of a costly company, but really high quality Holbein paint, Holbein. I probably have it actually right. Of course, it would be the last card I would see. So Luminous Rose 582. And that would be, I just bought a new tube. So I bought this just a few days ago. So again, it's expensive, $19.75 Canadian. It's gone up about $4 actually in the last year, just because of everything going on with our economy. Luminous Rose 582, so such a gorgeous, bright, luminous color. Holbein does have a luminous line. We can't get it. I went to a store locally and they do sell them individually, but you can get, I believe it's like 5 or 6 of the luminous, the brights, all in one package, if that's something that appeals to you. Venetian Rose by Amsterdam Paints. So that one is number 316. And it's this gorgeous pink here. So I'll just, what I can do, just because it's so funny, I did not plan to share this color palette, but why not? I'm just gonna make it easier for you to see. And I also have, you can see I use these paints often. Here's here's this very small container of just some of my paints. And without creating more shadows, this is the Amsterdam acrylic paint in Venetian Rose number 316. So beautiful. I don't know if I'll pull out all the paints just because that will take a while. Where is my deep yellow? So this is a more affordable paint. You can get deep yellow, I mean, Daler Rowney, a very affordable acrylic paint. And deep yellow comes in so many brands. It's just a slightly different name. And then we have bright orange, which is DecoArt Americana, another very affordable brand. Let's see if I can get that. And I know I'm going to be going over these ones with you all. Oh, here's that light phthalo green that I was talking about, that Pam Garrison uses a lot in her work. Okay, I'm gonna just show you a few because oh, here it is here. So super affordable, DecoArt Americana bright orange. So not as pigmented, but beautifully mixed with other colors. So if you want a paint to go further and it's a paint you purchased on a budget and it may not have a lot of pigment, you can just mix it with a really high quality paint. So if you bought just one very high quality white paint, you can get some beautiful colors on a budget. So the bright orange, blue gray by Liquitex Basics. This is one of my new favorite colors. I really love it as a neutral. Green gray. These were $13.50, 15 cents Canadian. Green gray, lovely color, both by Liquitex. We have Titan Green Pale, which I am just about out of. I put water in here, but this is just a lovely light green by Golden fluid paint. White, of course. And then for fluid acrylics, this is what I mean by a fluid acrylic. It's a highly pigmented permanent ink, so not water soluble. This is an example of the grayish blue number 562, the Amsterdam. Oh, and just to, okay, that was the green gray. Here's the blue gray. And then we have Pyrrole Red, which again is Amsterdam fluid acrylic, but I don't have that handy. Believe it or not, we have, what do we have? There's the Titan Green Pale I had showed you. We have, and then we had some mixes. This one is this gorgeous grayish blue fluid acrylic by Amsterdam. I've just started with their paints as they were on sale at Kensington Art Supply, a local store here in Calgary. I'm really happy with those. They are a beautiful paint. And then getting into, I think, probably the mixes here. Or almost here. There's again another, that was an orange and white mix. And this stunning color would be the, which one was this? This is the only one, I think, oh, this is a mix of the Pyrrole Red liquid acrylic, the fluid acrylic, and the luminous rose. So number So again, I can put this in my description if you're interested in this palette and you want to try it out for your something similar for yourself. And then the mixes that I just kind of came to really appreciate, the bright orange plus the pyrrole red. And I purposely made it so you could just see both of them and sort of how they mix. And then this was the olive green deep fluid acrylic. So this one, which was again a Amsterdam paint, and it was olive green deep number 622 plus the pyrrole red. And so you can see where I mixed that in, and it gave the most gorgeous kind of deeper burgundy. And then bright orange plus white, that's kind of neat, kind of fun the way it showed up. So that is the palette for the painting I had just showed you, Adventures with Foxes, and also the palette I had used last year for my Breaking Cabin Fever collection, which it had sold out before I even finished it. I'm so grateful to the beautiful couple that had purchased that collection. If you're watching, thank you. I'll keep you anonymous, but okay, I'm gonna set that aside and I will link that. And then back to the whole point of the video. I might have to just make a shorter one after this as well for people that just want me to get to the point, because I probably have some local people that just sort of want to know what I'm going to be selling at the show. It's kind of nice to have a heads up if you're following an artist and they're doing a show. I think it's kind of cool to see like a flip through on a video, just to know what's going to be presented. So I was really excited about these little cards, and I just kept them on this sweet little frame, just to kind of, as a reminder, just a place where I could see it if I need to grab it. I'm just gonna set that aside and then try and, oh, we need to move on. Next painting, and a little backstory. This painting, just gonna put this backboard here. This painting is a palette that was really new to me. I was just putting down colors. I really was sort of lighting up inside once the color went down. The bright neon orange. I really have come around to this fluorescent orange yellow by Golden. It's like just such a bright neon color. And I love that coral you can see down here in my work. And I was doing some painted papers with the reticulated pattern, which you can see right here. And bronze shimmer, a lot of etching. This is where I didn't leave a lot of white space in my work. You can see the repeated element of that reticulated pattern with the petals and these abstract botanicals. And this piece I had titled Capturing Harmony. I was really looking for a palette that made me happy and I felt was kind of in harmony together, and it just kind of came together. I'm really pleased with it. I'm especially pleased with the texture, and the one cool thing about this Supermarché De L'art, the art supermarket, is these will be where somebody can pick it up and look at it, and it will be in a crystal clear sleeve, but you know, they'll be able to probably feel some of that texture. And I think with art, it's just so cool when you like something online, whether it's a video or a photo, but then when you see it in person, it's just like, it's quite amazing, because it just takes, you know, it takes the art up so far. Like you can just feel something when you're with the art versus, you know, if you see something you like, it just doesn't do it justice. So Capturing Harmony, these are all 11 by 14 inches. And they're mounted to 16 by 20. That was the largest we were able to go with our show. This is titled Beneath the Fallen Snow. You can see the brown toned paper in here and just chunky collage. It was a painting that I've had in my studio. I did it 2024 here. And those of you probably remember my collage phase. I think I'm still kind of in it. And you can just see all the beautiful layers in here, the chunky black and white paper. and so much in terms of acrylic paint, watercolor, fluid. This is golden fluid acrylic in green gold. I usually don't bring out semi-realistic images that I see, like the bird here, but I just had to kind of bring out that bird, which I suppose would look like a butterfly if I covered that up. And the beauty beneath the fallen snow. So we're not at the point in Calgary where we've had much snow. We did get a snowfall about a week and a half ago, but it's been a very unusually warm year here, with you know, the kids trick-or-treating in, well, how many days? 4 or 5 days here. Let me think, today's Monday, Friday. And yeah, just where am I going with this? Yeah, beneath the fallen snow. So just trying to capture the beauty of all the blooms and the leaves before the snow hits. And that is it for paintings on paper. And then I'm going to share with you my dried botanical paintings on wood panel. And so these are mostly watercolor and acrylic. You can see the dried botanicals in here. I put a gloss varnish, so there's a gorgeous sheen. I did the edges with a deep turquoise and polka dots, botanicals in translation. So I just wired these yesterday. And again, here, the dried flowers. This is a gorgeous orange petal. If you can believe it, that's a petal, not paper. Petals here. So really trying to hold on to the botanicals before the snow comes, the winter comes. This might have to be a 2-part video. I have 30 paintings to share. This one was just drying. I was just adding a little bit more of the white around it just to make the colors stand out. I think this was around the time I was in my Pam Garrison influence phase, but also trying to find my own style. So it's a lot of the Neocolor wax crayons and I think bright neon pink Posca pen. And I was still writing words. I still am using words in my art, but at this time on the wood panel, Bloom with Gratitude. And then to share with you my art poetry originals. Some of you have seen these that I mounted to panel. So I have 4 of them. And again, they are the originals of the paintings that I reproduced into print for my art poetry deck. So I'll just share with you this one, which is the words I chose for this painting: allow for abundance and be open to receive. And this is the original. So it's a really different look. The way I had the torn paper edges, the delicate watercolor and line work, and then really kind of chunky gesso and white paint around, and kept the edges quite clean. So again, these originals are going to be going into the show. And then this is one I was a bit disappointed with the colors coming out super dark compared to, so this was my original work as the reproduction, Find Common Peaceful Moments. And then here's the original, which when you see it hit the light, you can see the gold shimmer and all the details. And then this turned out for some reason quite blue down here versus neutral. So I'd say this is the one card that maybe just didn't quite reflect my original art. But that doesn't matter. I mean, there's artists that totally modify the colors of their work with digital art. I still think this is the most gorgeous card in terms of that turquoise. Turquoise is a color that's really hard to pick up in photography and on video. So this is a beautiful, beautiful turquoise, and I do love both, but this original has a lot more neutrals. So This is Find Common Peaceful Moments. And then this card, Trust Your Intuition. And there's the original. And then this one, Capture the Moments and Hold Them Close. You can just see that gold shimmer in here, which is so beautiful. But I feel like the colors were captured really well in this particular reproduction. And I wanted to share, before I forget, I'm just gonna slip these in this deck. I have a few decks on the go. And that. And then I'm gonna share with you some more work. So going back to the wood panels, this one, There Are Brighter Days Ahead, art poetry on toned paper with sort of an iridescent bronze edge. This was back to my collage phase, probably my Pam Garrison era, both of these. So again, you can see the reticulated pattern in this butterfly. This one's very abstract. Painted edges. This is called When It Clouds Over. I felt like I was clouding over areas that I didn't love to make it something I loved, and I really liked kind of the neutrals behind the white areas of the collage paper I had used. And then this painting, Coastal Elements, I really love this painting. Something about this painting, it's a really different style for me, but again, Pam Garrison's colors are sort of woven through here, that phthalo green that I had shared. Lots of texture. It's just a sweet little painting. I'd painted over the edges and signed up the side. This one I painted quite a long time ago. I don't have a date, Blooming in Velvet. And this is one that had been on my wall for, I think I painted this in 2019, maybe 2020. Just see that there's a little bit of a scuff mark on here. I'll see if I can fix that. But this one is my Wendy Brightbill phase, the phase where I just was taking one of her floral classes. I love her style, and I sort of merged Alina Hennessy's style with that loose watercolor wabi-sabi background, embracing imperfection, just letting the fluid inks and the acrylic move around on the wood panel, and then finished it with a whole bunch of different mixed media elements. So these colors really speak to me. They're not colors I typically use in my paintings, but you can see that coral has made its way in. And this is when I really was just getting into painting. But I was so pleased with this. I wanted to live with it for a while before I sold it. So there's some pretty special paintings heading to the show. And this one, which I had painted at the same time as this one. So the top painting, this is called Golden Beams. Again, Alina Hennessy phase 2020. I was really trying to play around with my style on wood panel. I love the colors. So that one is gonna be at the art supermarket. And then this one, which is Alberta Gold. I was really into the gold inks and the beautiful white line work on here. So just wanted to share these two. And I had these in our lower downstairs guest bathroom for a while just because they matched each other, and I was quite pleased with them and just never did sell them. So I'm starting to clear out my walls a bit. And then more of a traditional style that I was into, just with the Rocky Mountains being in our backyard here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and that reticulated pattern, the turquoise. This was a triangular wood panel, so when I was going through my phase of working on triangles, This is 2021. This is titled New Depths. So this was a really, really fun piece to create. And then this sweet little one, it's in the glass frame. I used a lot of neon jelly rolls, watercolor base, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I thought this frame was neat. It's sort of, I don't know if it's still sort of a trend, but to have like a really small painting with a big white mat. And this one, it sits up like this, which is kind of cute. So this one's going to be in the show. So quite a variety of substrates, what I'm painting on. This one was a Kathy Nichols era. I was following mixed media artist out of Asheville, North Carolina, Kathy Nichols. And I also was really into dried botanicals that my mom had given me at the time. And it's funny, I would be now working with dried botanicals more than ever with that Lee Valley flower press she gave me. It's a microwave press. It's so easy. And at this time, I wasn't using the press. She had just given me these stunning dried flowers, and I had used Kathy Nichols' influence as far as her collage background, painted papers. I think this was sort of born out of one of her classes. I loved this watercolor brush. So this is in 2020. This was a collage piece of paper that landed in here with a brush. And then you can see a little bee and then the branch on the paper, as well as these stunning dried flowers. And again, collage, dried flowers. This was my own painting with Kathy's guidance, and yeah, different leaves. So I've held on to this quite a while. This is a special painting, but I'm ready to let it go and make room for something new. So okay, have I gone through 30? Not yet. Replay the good moments. One of my art poetry paintings on crescent watercolor board, a very high quality board. And you can see collaged papers in here. The gold is really pretty. I'm not sure if you can all see that. And then this one, You Will Always Be the Best Part of Me, another art poetry painting. You can see my favorite color, that coral, the gold, the moon, the birds, the fine details. Remember your breath and inhale gratitude. So just wanting to remind myself to appreciate the moment that we're in right now, and remembering to breathe. Oh, what was that? Oh, good thing it didn't. I can get that with a little bit of my watercolor brush. Just a tiny bit of pastel or something. That's the one risk of showing paintings when doing videos. Just gonna slip these aside. Oh no, I still have I have more. This was from my As We Cloud Our Vision series. So this is watercolor on canvas with wax as far as a coating. And this was a series. I had sold out of most of them, but I did not take these to the show at the time. I was in the Under 100 art show here in Calgary, and I took over 70 artworks. I had sold over 50. So everything was marked under $100, and you could bring as many as would like fit in your car. And so I paint a lot, but these ones, unfortunately, I just didn't get into the show. I just had way too much art. So I'm gonna be taking these ones to the art supermarket. This one's called Filtering in the Light. If you have followed me before and you followed my I don't know if I did a blog on As We Cloud Our Vision, but it's very much around eyesight and my son going through having to wear a patch at the time. And as artists, how we cloud our vision, and sometimes we can actually see contrast better, different colors better when we actually squint our eyes. And it's all about the interplay of him having to wear a patch and just using one eye to make it stronger. And also how in my creative life, I was also doing the same thing by clouding my vision, clouding my art, doing paintings in the sky with all this blank space. I call this like art poetry, like a garden in the sky, because it's almost like you have all these colors situated in this white space. This one, I think this one's called I See the Moon. Yes, it is. I see the moon sees me. And it's a bit of a play on words, but similar style. You can see this bright orange watercolor. That's actually that phthalo blue, that phthalo green that was influenced probably by Pam Garrison. I don't know a lot of other artists that use that in most of their work. I'm working on a collection now, which I'm probably gonna have a lot of that color. And again, I had started my art, selling my art really took off in 2020 when I was selling from my home. And because I'm in Calgary, I started to paint these mountain scenes. The turquoise does not show up in here, but it's the most gorgeous turquoise watercolor on canvas. And I was using my collage papers that I had made, these handmade papers. And this particular piece is called In My Element. And I can just share with you on my wall is that painting up there is titled, where are we? In the Elements. And so this is In My Element here. And let's just see. Yes, sorry, lost my train of thought. But watercolor on canvas. And then I think these are the final 28 and 29. This is a diptych, and it was inspired by Alina Hennessy. And I'm just gonna see. So it was painted side by side on 2 pieces of watercolor paper. It was a challenge to paint a diptych, and you can kind of see, so a diptych, meaning sort of like sister paintings where you have a continuation of the composition. And again, there's glass frames, but in this I was playing around with Nepalese Lokta paper, collage papers, maybe it was origami paper, I can't remember. And I was trying to put birds into my art, so these little birds, butterflies, and colors that I really don't usually paint with, the purples and the greens. And it's a stunning mixed media piece. I'm really pleased with it. I just don't have wall space. I had created another diptych, which actually is not in the show, but I could show you all now. It's on my wall. Just a moment. And so I was only allowed to enter 30 items into the show, but this is Follow Your Light, which has a lot more pinks, corals, colors that I use more often. And you can just see, I tried to, the painting, I painted it as one, but the moon I really wanted to show. And I think the way the mat was, I had to actually make the moon slightly bigger on this side. But if you imagine just these paintings pushed together, you can see little bits of collage or origami paper, Posca pens, watercolors, Neocolor crayons, just a lot of variety of mixed media materials, heavily influenced by Alina Hennessy's courses. But she says, you know, I still have sort of my very own style that had come out of her classes. So I will just move these back. I'm just gonna be really good and actually hang these up so they don't get broken. I have so many works in progress, and I might just show you a couple before I close off this video. I wonder if I got through the 30 paintings or if I had missed any. So back to this color palette that we had talked about. In this painting, which I have started on paper, I'm just sort of trying to pull this painting together. I'm pretty happy with it, but you can see this is an extension of Breaking Cabin Fever, and it's sort of becoming Breaking Chemo Fever between appointments, chemotherapy. And you can see that homemade stamp that's in my art journal with this color palette is in here. There's that brown toned paper. The reticulated pattern that I love so much is down here. And now that you know this color palette, you can probably kind of, start to see this Amsterdam 562, this grayish blue that found its way in here. Definitely that luminous rose right here. The mix of olive green deep, which is right here, number, I forget what, 622 plus the Pyrrole red 315 makes this insane neutral deep burgundy. It's so gorgeous. And then another mix that I liked was the luminous rose plus the Pyrrole red right here. And so this color palette still speaks to me. And it's funny because I think I gravitate towards similar color palettes every year, depending on the season, whether there's snow on the ground, how cold it is. This was when it was probably minus 35 or below, super cold here in Calgary. This is another one I had done where I was playing around with collage. It's not finished, but you can see a lot of the colors kind of pulled in. I work a lot on paper. This one was probably during my Wendy Brightbill phase. I haven't finished it. I have finished this one. I was gonna list it. I haven't titled it yet, I see. I love this upper bit, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna actually cut this up and mount it to wood panel, but this bright yellow, these neons, this area is really speaking to me now. So and I think there was music sheets in this one. This one doesn't appeal to me right now, but I'm just working on it. These colors really appeal to me. And I'm just pulling this piece together. There's that reticulated paint pattern, the black and white. And I love the green gold in here. You can see the brown tone paper. Just playing with collage on paper, and these colors really make me happy. I don't see this as a full finished painting yet. Some of you have asked me how I incorporate my watercolor collage in here, and you can just see it peeking through there. This is like a watercolor swatch. Whoops. Okay, nothing spilled. And again, really beautiful colors in here. Just have to figure out how to pull it together. I have hundreds of works on the go at a time. A lot of them on paper, which is great. My husband appreciates because, well, I actually have clothespins on a line all around our main living room, and he doesn't mind at all. He says when I don't have art up, it gets really bare. And so he encourages me to put my art up, but it's quite funny. I have people over and I'm like, don't look at those yet. They're just works in progress, but they're literally like papers hanging as I process what I want to do with them. When I'm working on collections, it's quite the sight, and there's paintings everywhere. And so the 30 that you just saw, it will be nice to just put those back out into the world and create some space for me to finish new ones. On this note, this has been a long video, and this is a painting I might actually again cut up and mount, because I don't know if I love it all in this 18 by 12 inch composition, but I like parts of it. You can see sewing patterns, my mom's simplicity patterns, that paper in there. There's a lot going on in here, and it was great. It was born out of a class I did with a local artist, Nadine Johnson, called Abstract Expressions here at Kensington Art Supply. I really enjoyed her class, and I just hadn't finished it, but that was sort of something that I had come home with. We can maybe just, hopefully the 71 cards made it back into my art poetry deck. I love this mountain piece on the top. I may as well just put my in the element. I'm in the element with you all, doing a video and creating and being inspired. And I paint to stay present in the moment. I paint as a form of escape, as a form of filtering out noise from the loud day-to-day, everything we have going on, as a break from social media, as a way of putting what I've been learning and finding within myself as an artist, kind of when you have to share it or when you teach it, it's incredible how you have just these new insights and you're inspired in a new way. And funny enough, so my art poetry deck, I did say art poetry for insights and inspiration. And each card is a visual reminder that the present moment holds much beauty and guides us with new insights and inspiration. Choose a card in the morning or at night or whenever a thoughtful moment invites. And I'll just share this other card because it's so pretty. I love this pink. Practice gratitude every day. And I can tell you, this painting came from a happy accident where I just sat down to paint one evening to escape, to play with some of my new supplies. And I had just purchased a bottle of acrylic ink, that beautiful bright magenta, and I had spilled out too much, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's just a whole lot of pink. What am I going to do with that? And I used my watercolor brush to just pull out that pigment while it was still wet and starting to dry, and the whole page became pink. And then I used water-soluble crayons. I had just purchased some new water-soluble pencil crayons, wax crayons, and I just started putting colors down, and then I really liked it. And looking at it now, it really still makes me happy. It brings me joy. And it also is learning that happy accidents do come out with incredible results sometimes, and things that you wouldn't otherwise get in your artwork. You know, I couldn't repeat this if I tried. It's just this was just a painting that occurred in the moment. I was staying present with my art and really just not overthinking that I wanted an end product. And that's how a lot of my art does come to be. So I just wanted to share that with you, as to think about your art and art journaling and your practice pieces. They all amount to finding your voice and finding yourself and getting better each time, knowing what you love and especially what you don't like. So art journaling, just those practice, those playful pieces, things that, again, like looking at this one, this right now doesn't really spark joy. I am getting a lot out of the textures and the colors, but I feel like if I had a viewfinder, a mat where I could just hover over areas that I really like and maybe turn it into something new. There's always things that I can find that I really like. Maybe covering up areas that I don't like. If I had too much dark in here, I would just, cover it up with gesso. But this was learning, this was remembering, like I was able to get that watercolor collage on here and it didn't smudge. Maybe I had used that Dorland's wax medium to seal it first, I don't remember. just knowing, you know, I do like actually that look of the watercolor in the paintings with all the acrylic. So finding little parts that you do love and just thinking of it as practice. The beauty is when it's on paper, you can make it into a journal. I could fold this up and turn it into, there's so many ways of making these concertina journals, zine journals, just folding it up and making it into a card for somebody, making gift tags out of it. So many options. So, okay, I'm gonna just leave you with maybe one more card. I'll leave you with blushing in nature, practice subtle grace and humility. Thank you for being here.